Hey everyone, this is Vic Tech here, making this video to help those who want to update their NexSmart D32 4K Android TV box from Android version 4 to version 6 or 6.01, which is the version that I have. I will not put a link to the files. If you do a Google search on Google, you will find the drivers, which you will need, the factory tool, and the actual ISO or ROM in order to flash your box. You will also need a paperclip and a male-to-male or a straight-through USB cable. This is actually a USB extender, and what I did was I took off the metal housing from this end in order to plug it, but you will need a male-to-male USB. Also, I am using Windows 7 to do this upgrade. I have done it successfully once and it worked flawlessly. So the purpose of this video is there are instructions on the web. There's a forum that has all the information. However, it's very little support, and hopefully this video will help those out there that are looking for some guidance on how to do this at home. So let's start. The first thing you need to do is set your box into bootloader mode. Make sure that the box has power and your HDMI is connected to your TV as such. In order to put it into bootloader mode, you will need to unplug it and you will take your paperclip, and through the AV port, if you notice, there is an AV port, which is the port between the LAN connector and the HDMI. There's a little button inside. You are going to insert the paperclip and push on the button, press on the button. You will feel a slight tick. And while you're pushing on that button, you plug in the power. So now we're ready to bring our NexSmart into download mode. One thing to mention is that make sure your box is still connected to your HDMI so you can see when you select going into download mode, and make sure that you are pressing the button inside the AV port, which is all the way to the end between the HDMI and the LAN connection. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna depress the button and then plug in your power. I wanna also mention, make sure that you have a mouse or a keyboard so you can scroll down and select the proper selection, bringing your box into download mode. And the way we do that is we depress on the button. You're gonna feel a slight click, and then you plug in your power source. So as you can see, I'm holding down the paperclip and I'm waiting for the next box to start powering up, and there it is. And you hold the button until you see the bootloader mode screen, which might take a minute or two. And there it is. And you're gonna click on, scroll to bootloader, click OK, and your screen will go black. Once your screen goes black, you will know that there is power to the box itself. At this point, we're ready to connect the box to the laptop or desktop, whichever you have available. And again, I want to remind everyone I'm using a Windows 7. So I already have everything I need downloaded. The first thing you want to do is install the driver. As I mentioned, I will not provide a link. If you do a search on Google, you will find everything you need. Just do a search for NexSmart D32 upgrade and you will find everything you need. So you run the install by clicking on driver install. It's going to ask for elevated privileges. You're going to click on yes and then install driver. You may get a prompt saying if you want to allow arcade device or rock chip device driver, I clicked on trust always, and that's why I'm not getting the pop-up. But I want you to see the install process. So once you get this driver installed, you'll get a pop-up saying driver installed okay or something like that. I'm just going to pause while it installs. So now we got the install driver okay message, and you just want to click OK. And the next thing you want to do is you want to go and navigate back into your factory tool. The factory tool is what's going to actually load the image onto the box itself. So when you click on this, it's going to also run and ask you for elevated privileges, and just click yes, click OK. And you're going to get this screen. Now, one thing they don't mention in the forums is you can go into English, and you do that by clicking on this button right here and click the bottom part, and it'll give you the English language. So that's a little nugget that they failed to mention. It's going to make everything easier. And then you have like a status down here where it says first use the USB port and the ID. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plug in the NexSmart to the USB port and see if the software actually recognizes it. Plug this part in from the box to the USB port on the laptop, and you'll hear the sound that it's successfully connected. There it is. Port 2 loader. That means that the box is connected. It will not necessarily be the same on your computer, but for all intended purposes, you will see a blue USB icon. It'll say port 2 and it'll say loader. So now we're gonna get ready to load the ROM. But before that, I want to go into Device Manager and show you what it would look like when it loads the driver successfully on your system. So here we are in Device Manager, and if you look here where it says class for Rock USB devices, Rock USB, that means that the driver successfully is installed. But once the driver is installed, you should see a blue port and the word loader on the device type, and that means that it is ready to start loading the firmware. So in order for you to upgrade from Android 4.44 or whatever version you have to the latest 6.0 Marshmallow, you click on firmware and you browse to where you copied the ROM itself. And I copied mine to a folder called NexSmart where I have all the drivers and all the stuff that I need. And I click on the actual, and make sure you download the correct one for your device and click on open. Once you click on open, it'll say loading on the top here. I guess it's verifying the image itself. And once it's ready to upgrade, you click on run. I guess it checked it, and now you click on run. And then you'll see it says resetting device, waiting for load, and it says downloading firmware or download firmware. And it'll give you a progress. And this is what you'll see. So I'm going to pause it because this is a lengthy process. I just wanted to jump in real quick and also show you that if you notice, this button used to be red before. It's green, meaning that it's good to go for the upgrade. The upgrade is still running. We're at 87%. Again, I'm going to pause this, and once it's done, I'll show you what it does. So once it's done, you'll see a message that says check firmware, and I'm guessing it's verifying that the image that was downloaded is there's no corruption and it's a good file. Once it finishes checking the firmware, then it'll start writing it into the actual ROM. So I'm going to pause it, and then I'll resume once it starts doing that part as well. So once it finishes checking the firmware, you'll get the NexSmart logo. So you get the wiping data, the formatting data. This is why it's important to leave your device hooked up to the actual HDMI port, so you can see the status of what's going on with your device during this whole process. If there's any errors, you'll know. So I'm going to pause this because this will definitely take like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe longer, depending on the upgrade, but I'm only going to go as far as to show you how the box updates, and once it's completed, and then you can take it from there. So here it is, folks. This is the screen that you'll get once the actual update is complete. Don't go into panic mode if your box stays stuck for like 5 to 8 minutes. If it's 30 minutes or longer, then I would say, yeah, maybe reset the box, do a hard reset. And you would go into bootloader and then just do a wipe factory data and start over again. If you don't see that once the box has booted again, it doesn't go into this screen, just start the process over again. I find that it's kind of difficult to break it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I did a few disconnects, and here I am making this demo once again. So once this screen is done, installing the apps, copying the data and whatnot, you're gonna get greeted by the screen that you were greeted when you first purchased the box, where you set it up and set up a Google account, and there it is, you're ready to go. So, and there you have it. This is the screen that you will be greeted to once your upgrade is done. This is pretty much straightforward from here. So I'm going to end this video here, and thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you if you're looking to upgrade your box. A reminder to those looking for the update for this, just do a Google search, enter your NexSmart D32 box, and put Android Marshmallow or Android 602 upgrade, and you will find all the links that you need and all the information. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.